Chris Galzo here with
Matt Howell.
And in this episode of The First Run, Matt and I are going to discuss Rogue One, a Star Wars story. You ever wonder exactly how the Rebels got the plans for the Death Star? Not the Banthas, that's a whole different thing. We're talking about originally. Well, now's your big chance to find out. Initially, our Asian horror marathon, we decided to switch that up, Matt, and make it just horror films from 2016 that we didn't get a chance to catch up with, which I think is a much more succinct title. And we're going to start that up with Train to Busan. And then, of course, it's the return of TFR Libs, our fill-in-the-blank game. So it's a lot of fun. It's our last episode of the year. So let's take a listen to a clip from Rogue One.
The world is coming undone. Imperial flags reign across the galaxy.
Can you be trusted without your shackles?
Let's just get this over with, shall we?
We've a mission for you. A major weapons test is imminent. We need to know how to destroy it.
If you're really doing this, I want to help.
Good.
Good. I've been recruiting for the rebellion for a long time.
We destroyed our home. I fight the Empire now.
I fear nothing. All is as the Force wills it.
The captain says you are a friend. I will not kill you.
Thanks. There isn't much time. Every day they grow stronger.
Matt, I am clearly under the weather. It wasn't a holiday break we took. I actually just got very, very ill. So what we're going to do is I'm going to let you do most of the heavy lifting this episode, which of course will mean I'll probably talk 65% of the time instead of 70. Let's talk though about Rogue One. All right. So this is the first of the offshoot films. Okay. This is not the main storyline trilogy stuff. This is the beginning of the side stories for Star Wars. So this time we're going to go with a prequel to I'm not even going to do that joke. Let's just move on. So Matt, this time we have Felicity Jones plays Jyn, and she is the daughter of the man who designed the Death Star. So we start with Ben Mendelsohn, who I got to tell you, man, I totally forgot Mendelsohn was in this film. Mm-hmm. And I'm a big fan of his work. If you want to see how versatile an actor Ben Mendelsohn is, go check out one of the first run favorites, Killing Them Softly. He is in that as well. And he's fantastic in that, but an entirely different character, obviously. So Mendelsohn's our bad guy, right, Matt? He plays, what's his name in this thing again? He's director something. Director Krennic. He's the guy responsible. He's a director of advanced weapons research for the Imperial military. So he brings back, we have Mads Mikkelsen, right, who we're always excited to see. He's Galen Erso. He's the guy who's building or designing the Death Star. And they go in, they're going to build it. We need you to come back. We got to finalize stuff for the Death Star. And of course, Jyn is able to escape because they don't want her to be part of it. And we fast forward about, 10, 15 years. Death Star is ready to go. And they think, well, the last thing we need to do is we got to figure out a way to stop them from finishing, maybe killing Galen Erso, maybe coming up with the plan. So no, we got to do something. And so Felicity Jones joins up with a ragtag group of rebels and some other people. One guy may be a Jedi, he may not be. And it's up to them to get the plans that eventually will lead to Star Wars: A New Hope. Matt, as the first offshoot film, are you more excited for this now, or do you feel, you know what, maybe we should just stick with the through line main storylines?
That is a good question. I liked this enough. I'll level set and say I wasn't really blown away. I think this film has a lot of flaws, but I think they did a well enough job, and I think it's obviously making enough money where I think they can learn some lessons from this film, and they can do some more work with the offshoot films. Because I mean, I'm a big proponent of doing offshoot films. I mean, as far as it's a big universe that's created. So I mean, I don't see why we have to keep following the Skywalkers everywhere they go.
I think that's a fair point, and I'm glad to see you're open to that. But I'm okay. So I think you and I have to have a discussion then, because right now I'm slotting this behind Empire.
You think it's the second best one?
I loved this film.
Okay.
I don't know if part of my issue is visiting the original trilogy as an adult and seeing the glaring faults in those films now. The script being exceptionally weak, I think, and some of the acting in the first film. The third film just having some great moments, but also I feel it's generally considered to be the toy tie-in film.
Sure.
So I don't know. I really, really enjoyed this. I totally bought into it. For me, this was I know this is probably intellectually lazy, the Saving Private Ryan of the Star Wars films. This is their war film. It does not have spoilers, everybody. It's not a happy ending where everybody's gathered around afterwards saying, "Whoo, that was a great adventure. What's next?" So I think it's strong because of that. I think the universality and the variety and the what's the word I'm looking for, Matt? Diversity of the cast is an exceptionally strong thing for this film. Donnie Yen, who plays Chirrut Imwe, he's the guy who may or may not be a Jedi. Listen, if you're not familiar with Donnie Yen, this guy is a huge world star who hasn't really broken here yet. He started to, and he's in a few things, but I absolutely love me some Yen. He's the guy who's been Ip Man in the Ip Man films.
Okay. Yep.
The majority of them. The guy who trained Bruce Lee, which is a fascinating story. He also was in Dragon, which is is it Japanese? I think I might be wrong on that, but it's an international version of A History of Violence, which is a great little film. So I love me some Yen. K2SO, right? Alan Tudyk, who just knocks it out of the park as the robot who voicing it, really kind of gives it some life. And then Chris Mendelsohn. Diego Luna, who plays Captain Cassian Andor, also fantastic. And I think the whole cast is universally great. I think it's very smart, Matt. It does a great indictment on bureaucracy, how slow they are to respond to things because of the bureaucracy that is the Empire, how that's part of the key of how they're able to be successful. I think it finally, for me, explains why the Death Star was so easy to blow up in the first place.
Yeah,
I think it does cap that little, which I think you would have been a weak point of the first film, the fourth film, wherever you want to put it. I think it explains that to me now to a point. I'm like, okay, I think that makes sense. That finally makes sense to me. Now it does have I do have some issues with it, specifically with some of the CGI decisions.
Okay. Yeah,
which I think we can talk about. But I'm curious where you felt that the film was lacking. Where did it fall for you?
So, I think the battle scenes and the action sequence in this, I think, are absolutely the best that they've ever done in any of the Star Wars films. The best part of the entire film that I got giddy like boy was at the very end when you get to see Darth Vader actually be a badass for the first time on screen. I got really, really excited for that.
Yeah.
But I think the flaw of this film is that there's too many characters, and while the actors are great, cast I almost want to know more about these characters, but they have so much to get to, and there's so many guys that basically it's just kind of like, okay, this guy's now this guy's a part of the team. Here's his little backstory. Now we're not going to see him again until his final battle at the end, kind of thing. So it just seems like they do a good job of keeping it all together, and they do a good job of keeping it moving. It's just that for the most part, it doesn't always feel like it has a lot of depth. And I know that may be silly to say for Star Wars films, but I just think that because it's such a broad cast that it doesn't always hit when it really should as far as the emotional beats go.
I don't think that's true at all. I think it absolutely delivers. I think if there's any issues for the film, for me, it's CGI Tarkin. I don't know. Listen, this is fantastic work. All right, the technology at this point seems to be the best it's been up to now. It's still not good enough. All right, it's
Right.
still obvious. Now I understand what they did is why it was so successful in Captain America: Civil War, and so successful in Ant-Man, is that they use the actual actors to kind of go walk through the scenes and then just basically computer generatedly de-age them.
Yeah.
Okay. You couldn't do that with Tarkin because Peter Cushing died, 14 years ago, 15 years ago in the 90s. So they had to use an actor who looked like him structurally.
Mm-hmm.
And it just didn't really kind of come together. Unfortunately, it looked fake. Another one that I thought was a struggle for me too was Leia at the end, right? You get the appearance of, because things do kind of lead right into A New Hope. And the Leia didn't look particularly authentic to me either. And Carrie Fisher, unfortunately, now is passed. At the time of the filming, she was alive. So I'm not quite sure why that didn't work for me as much. Was that an issue for you at all, the CGI?
Yeah, I mean, I think they did a much better job. They did a much better job with Tarkin than they did with Leia. Like, Leia looked like a wax figure, whereas Tarkin didn't look quite right, but sometimes in the shadows, he looked like he could almost be real. So, you know, and of course, whoever they got to play him sounds almost exactly like Peter Cushing. He had the kind of gravitas, so you kind of just forget about it because you kind of enjoy seeing him as a character on there, or at least I did. But yeah, you're right. It wasn't 100% successful. You know, I've read the stuff online on whether it was really ethical to kind of pull in the likeness of a deceased actor, considering as the technology progresses, we're going to be able to do that easily more and more to where it probably will be seamless. And should we be doing that? But a bit jarring, and I don't think it looked quite right. I was less happy with Leia, but Tarkin I got over because it felt like he was a necessary character to the story.
See, that's what I think too. I don't know if he really was.
You don't think so?
Couldn't they have done under somebody else? Did they really have to use Tarkin? I guess. Well, Tarkin was the commander of the Death Star, right? Was he?
Yeah, he was basically the only one. He was basically second to, I think, only to the Emperor. I mean, he could even boss Darth Vader around, which is so I guess that's why they felt like they had to bring him in.
All right, I was going back and forth. I thought they could have rewritten that where they used somebody else, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. The Leia part of it, I think, was more fan servicey, just like the appearance of C-3PO and R2-D2.
Yeah.
But I didn't have really an issue with it on that point. My only issue with the Leia stuff was just the tech itself.
Yeah.
It's just like I said, it's fantastic. It's just not quite there yet.
Yeah. And this film has a lot of fan service, not even just the ones that you just mentioned, but they bump into the Walrus guy who Obi-Wan cuts his arm off in Tatooine for whatever reason. But the part that I thought was most interesting that I like, they took the Rebel pilots from the 1970s Episode 4, and in the scene at the end, they started plugging them in to the actual battle, which I thought was a neat little nod that those guys were still alive, and you know, obviously they wouldn't be the second time they went to fight the Death Star. So I like that. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I didn't even know that until I watched the little featurette or something on YouTube about the special effects afterwards. I didn't realize that it was the same pilots. And backing up to a bit, I know they got permission and approval from the Cushing estate to use him in the film. I think that'll be key in the future to the inclusion of deceased actors in films, which is a crazy thing to even say. One other thing too, a nice touch I thought effects wise was they got the lenses in Vader's helmet right too. You know, because you look at it from A New Hope, they're not black, right? They have this kind of like almost sunglass brownish sheen to them, right? And it changes throughout the film, so they did that correct. And it was also great to see I guess Vader's planet, which is something they'd planned to do in the original trilogy, but they never did it. And you get to see his castle and his what is it called? The tank filled with the fluid that helps keep him moving.
Oh, the Bacta tank?
Yeah, the Bacta tank.
I'm such a nerd.
I knew what it was because I play a lot of Battlefront Star Wars, and I have the Bacta grenade, which heals you when you.
Oh, okay.
Anyway. But yeah, so listen, it had a lot of nice touches with that, and I loved Mendelsohn. I just absolutely love that guy and everything he does. So I thought he was really strong as our main villain. One thing too that I thought was weird was there were some scenes in here that were in the trailer that were not in the film, particularly the TIE fighter face-off at the end of the film.
Yeah.
There's a scene in the trailer, right, where Jyn Erso is at the top of this tower thing and a TIE fighter just kind of appears up. Not in the movie.
True.
And I'm like, come, you gotta give me that. I gotta see how that ends. I'm assuming maybe an X-wing flows by and blows it out of the sky, maybe. But still, it's such a great scene in the trailer that you don't see. But I think, how do you feel? I know there's some questions online I saw that this transition. So Vader is a complete badass at the end of this film. It's basically what you've been waiting your whole life to see. And it's fantastic. The film basically ends at the beginning of A New Hope. Why does he seem to be so much more passive now in Star Wars A New Hope after massacring a whole platoon of rebel soldiers at the end of the end of Rogue One? Where's that transition? I don't. Is it because,
I heard him described as arthritic. He's arthritic throughout all the rest of the movies. And they're like, I understand it was 1970 whatever, and you've got a guy who's basically a bodybuilder in a very uncomfortable suit of armor, so he can't probably do a whole lot. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe the in-canon explanation is that Tarkin's just keeping him on a short leash and won't let him do anything. That's what I'm going to go with. Like, he wouldn't let him choke that guy to death in the Death Star, so maybe that's what it is.
I think maybe too. So they know they're on a rebel ship there. Leia escapes and gets to say she's on a diplomatic mission. So maybe that's why he has to cool it a little bit too, because he can't just be.
He can't prove that it was the same one.
Bull in a china shop type thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I guess I'll let that slide. But all right. Any other thoughts about the Rogue One? I'm surprised. I really anticipated that you would like this just as much, if not more, than I did. I'm surprised that you did.
Yeah, I mean, I really did like it. I really think I need to see it again because I was kind of just in like wide-eyed awe while I was taking the whole thing in and maybe being overcritical. But I do need to see. I will say this: this is probably one of the only movies I've seen all year that I want to actively go see in the theater again. So I guess that says something. So yeah, maybe I'll need to check out Star Wars Dirty Dozen and check it out and see it go from there.
Yeah, I know. I'm right now. I feel like maybe I should watch it again too before I officially slot it in right behind Empire.
Yeah.
But if this is to answer my own question at the beginning of the segment, if this is what we're in for, I feel much better about these offshoot films. I'm still a little concerned about young Han Solo.
Yeah.
Conceptually, but still. I feel a little bit better about everything now. This is how deftly they're going to be handled and how exciting they're going to be. It didn't feel like, let's make an action movie with the Star Wars characters. It felt very much part of that universe. I think it respectfully pays homage. I can't even talk. To all of the stuff we've established. I thought the fan service was not glaringly obvious for the most part. I think every one of these every members of the cast, the core cast, had their moments, and it didn't feel forced to me so much as I guess as it did for you. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would have to give this probably an A- for myself right now, and a strong film and a worthy addition to the Star Wars universe. Where do you come down letter grade then?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go obviously slightly less than you. I'm gonna go B+. I really enjoyed it. I don't want anybody to think I didn't enjoy it. It's probably one of the better big action set piece films of the year. But yeah, it had some flaws, and I reserve the right after I watch it the second time to change it at a later date.
Fair enough. All right. So, and then I have to say too, see it in the theater. You have to, in the biggest, loudest screen you possibly can. I saw this in the IMAX 3D. Again, the 3D is so pointless. Can we just move on from? I know we never will because of the money, but the biggest, loudest screen you can find. If you had a chance to see Rogue One, and I think at this point pretty much everybody has, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, let's talk about what's coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday. That's December 27th, which is actually past because we're a little late as I've been sick. American Honey, which is a film I just caught up with, which I'll probably talk about. I may do a little offshoot because we should do like a wrap-up show, Matt, because there's things I think both of us have seen that may not make the show. Like I saw Loving, now American Honey, and there's some other stuff coming up too. I know you've seen Jackie, which I hope to catch up with. Manchester by the Sea, La La Land's coming up. A lot of this stuff will make full show, but we'll figure it out. It's coming out with the Blu-ray Ultraviolet Pass. This is the one with the new star, possibly Sasha Lane, and of course, one of Matt's favorite actors, Shia LaBeouf. Oliver Stone's Snowden is being released. Includes a Blu-ray DVD digital copy, Ultraviolet Pass. When the Bow Breaks, Morris Chestnut and Regina Hall do their Fatal Attraction version. Includes some deleted and extended scenes. The Dressmaker, Jocelyn Moorhouse directs this Australian revenge comedy starring Kate Winslet as Myrtle Dunnage, a woman who returns to her hometown to take care of her ailing mother, Molly, played by Judy Davis. Myrtle's return sparks much debate between the residents of the town as she was accused of murdering someone many years ago. In the Valley of Violence, Ty West's Western starring Ethan Hawke is released. I wanted to check this out. We're both, Matt, big fans of House of the Devil. I admit to being underwhelmed by The Innkeepers. Still good, but not great. A film shot in Winstead, Connecticut. But this is his Western. We may want to check that out. Matt, your straight to DVD pick of the week. I'm going to go with, Lord forgive me, Killer Rack. From the director of Slime City comes a screwball horror comedy about a set of monstrous memories. Killer Rack. In a world that prizes breast size over accomplishments, which is just kind of sad. Betty Downer just can't get a break. Scorned by her coworkers, ridiculed by her boyfriend, and overlooked by her boss. Betty impulsively books an enhancement surgery with the elder gods worshipping Dr. Ready for this? Kate Thulu. And then all hell breaks loose. Don't miss the festival sensation Fangoria calls funny and bloody when 401 Mania calls a wild and wicked horror comedy. Winner of multiple awards, including Outstanding Horror Comedy at Zed Fest. Killer Rack bonus features include the short film Kill the B Word, because we're right around the holidays. I don't want to say horrible things. Some deleted scenes, behind the scenes trailer, another short film called The Camper. So you can now finally catch up with Killer Rack. Matt, is there anything we should be streaming this upcoming New Year's Eve, besides, of course, the Twilight Zone marathon that'll be running on Sci-Fi on New Year's Day?
Yes. So just released this month, I think in the past week, one of the biggest films of the year, one of the best action films of the year, and very close to my heart because it has my favorite superhero ever. And going back home, talking about Marvel's Captain America Civil War. This is basically Avengers 2.5. This is an Avengers movie in everything but name only, but we get it's a lot better than Age of Ultron on every level. It's a lot more of a interpersonal relationship story. I mean, as much as a superhero movie can be, and you get the benefit of having. Again, I cannot say enough how much I enjoy Spider-Man being on back in the MCU. And you get the introduction to Black Panther and all other kinds of new characters. But next year, and this is kind of your introduction. Obviously, if you're just looking for some fun to watch with the kids, this is the one.
I would agree. Actually, while I've been ill this past week, I watched Civil War again, and it is fantastic. I think it may be the best Marvel film. It is entertaining. It's strong. It zigs when it's supposed to zag. It really, it does a great fake out of how the climax is going to unfold. You get Baron Zemo, maybe not the Baron Zemo you were hoping for. I don't know. Have you seen the designs? Because initially they were going to go with a more traditional Zemo design.
I did not. The purple sweater mask and everything?
Yep. Yeah. I guess they abandoned that when the film kind of took a different direction when they were writing it. But yeah, it really is the best Avengers film so far. Sorry, Joss, but it is. So if you haven't seen Civil War, impressive that it's on Netflix, but I guess that's what they had, that Disney exclusive deal for a few years. So good for them. So yeah, I think that's a great pick. I'm about halfway through Stranger Things as well, Matt. So I'm very excited about it.
What do you think?
Thoroughly enjoying it. I love the score. I love the Tales from the Dark Side kind of opening crawl credits as well. So it really is pushing all of my 80s love buttons. So I am thoroughly enjoying it.
It's pushing your 80s love buttons. That might be one of the most dirty, clean things we've said on this show.
Fantastic. Hopefully I'll be able to wrap it up this weekend. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. So let's take another break and hear a clip from the first film from our Not Asian Horror Marathon. That happens to be an Asian horror film. And that's Train to Busan.
파이로트 응급 환자 발생했습니다.
Let me tell you, Matt, South Korea, when they deliver the horror films, they tend to deliver. I'm talking, of course, about The Host, a fantastic little family horror drama comedy. If you haven't seen The Host, it was on Netflix for quite a while. I'm not sure if it still is, but it is great, and you should check it out immediately. So this time, Matt, South Korea delivers a zombie apocalypse horror thriller, Train to Busan, about an absentee father who is bringing his young daughter up to visit his estranged wife, the mother, of course, of the child, because that's all she really wants for her birthday, because dad is just a workaholic and a horrible dad. So he's going to give his daughter what she wants, and they're going to take a train to Busan. Unfortunately, on their way, a zombie outbreak occurs, and possibly one of the only safe, maybe, places left is this bullet train to Busan, until of course the zombies show up, and now it's a death train, and they have to do everything they can to survive. Matt, all right. This film has got a lot of rave reviews, Matt. Everybody seems to really enjoy Train to Busan. Is it another great entry in the Asian horror market? Where did you come down? And is this a train ride that you would look forward to taking? Minus the zombie.
Minus the zombie apocalypse. And yes, okay. I think this is a train ride that everybody should check out. If you're a fan of the zombie genre, if you're a fan of horror films in general, I think this is a really good take on the entire zombie genre, as far as, it has that slow build in the beginning, but then it kind of just punches you in the gut with the rest of it, and it really never lets up. And it's got kind of a nihilist point of view, which, is typical in some of your foreign horror films, not just Korean or anything like that, but I mean French or whatever. But it's got a lot of good action set pieces. It's not super gory. I've heard it's pretty intense while you're watching it for the most part.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. It's a lot of fun. It's a great ride. What it does is it kind of cherry picks from all the recent horror films, zombie films too. If you notice, Matt, granted, there's some Night of the Living Dead. Everybody owes homage to Romero's original, but there's World War Z stuff, right, with the wave of kind of zombies on occasion. Yes, some 28 Days Later stuff as well, because these zombies can move. These suckers can book. There's also too the transformation reminded me a bit of the World War Z. You're right though; it's a little light on the gore, which I think may be a good respite for some people. I don't know. When I see my zombie movies, I like them to be kind of as gross as possible. But so you're not going to get that Walking Dead or Italian, Spanish zombie movie back in the heyday kind of gore to it too. So, which is good. I think the film moves along quite brusquely. I mean, this thing, man, is about what? It's a little over 2 hours. No, not quite 2 hours long. But it does move, and it's really entertaining. It's a lot of fun. I think the family dynamic too is great. I think it really balances, family, divorce, abandonment, all those kind of issues. It touches on them and does it well. Also, the cowardice and self-preservation aspect that people have as well. It does balance its drama and its horror very well. I think it's well timed as well with the social commentary about some of the family challenges that we see, and then boom, run for your damn life. I think if any has any weakness, I think maybe it was a little too schmaltzy at the end. I think we know where the film's going the entire time. I think it sets it up well about dad, and all he ever seems to care about is himself and his career. So we know where we're going to end. But still, never a dull moment. And I thoroughly enjoyed this ride.
Good. That was a good one. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think if I had one complaint, I think it does kind of go for the schmaltz. And I understand they're trying to, make emotional impact, but they kind of draw out some of those scenes. There's a couple that I can think of, and they kind of pull them out way too long. But I guess that's really a minor quibble for the film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's a fair point. And but overall too, the cast is good. I think there's the what's the name of I don't know the name of the guy. Here's the problem when it comes to the Asian horror films. I'm not quite sure who's who. The guy who plays the wife of the pregnant woman, the big tough badass guy.
Yeah.
He was probably my favorite character. I wanted to spend the most time with him. And of course they have the scene too, which kind of reminiscent of Snowpiercer, when they have to get through a couple of the cars to get to their family members to rescue them. And when they go through the tunnels, how the zombies react to the dark, I thought was a nice touch as well. And the silence, versus the noise, and just a lot of nice little touches. I think it's just a lot of fun. So I'm really glad we caught up with it. Here's the thing. I gambled, Matt. I had a gift certificate, an iTunes gift card. So it was $5 to rent, 15 to own. The reviews were stellar. So I said, you know what? I'm going to buy this sucker. I'm going to go for it.
Blind buy, huh?
And I don't think it was the right decision. I think it may have been fine as a rental. Listen, I enjoyed it. I think you should see it. It's a lot of fun, but I think $5 as a rental, it would have been sufficient. If I had to give it a letter grade, I would go B+. I mean, it's a great film, but I just don't know if it's going to have any high rewatchability factor. And that's kind of key for me now when it comes to buying things. My rule is, I watched it at least 2 more times. And that's not going to be the case here. But you should definitely at least rent it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that assessment wholeheartedly. I'd give it a B+ too. Definitely wouldn't buy this movie. You're right. I don't think it has a whole lot of replay value for me. But I enjoyed it. And if you're, you can get it on the cable services on demand, or so if you're looking for something, it's, pop it in there and check it out if you're into that kind of thing. It's definitely a fun time. But you're right. I don't think it has a lot of staying power.
Yeah. So, but still, as we said, definitely make sure you see it. One of the more fun zombie films of the year, if not in the last couple of years, I would say. So, all right. If you had a chance to see Train to Busan, of course, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, typically now we're going to play another clip, and I'd be able to set it up for you because as we go into the final segment, this week being TFR Libs, but due to my illness, I have no idea what you're about to hear next. I'm sure whatever it is, it's funny and brilliant, so enjoy.
Why do they still call me a warlord? And mad? All I want to do is to create the perfect genetic soldier. Not for power, not for evil, but for good. Carlos Blanca will be the first of many. They shall march out of my laboratory and sweep away every adversary, every creed, every nation, until the very planet is in the loving grip of the Pax Bisonica. And then peace will reign in the world, and all humanity shall bow to me in humble gratitude.
I love that. Oh, that's a great scene from that film. So, Matt, let's now do our fill in the blank game, which is TFR Libs. We're going to present ourselves some scenarios, some sentences, and Matt and I are going to have to finish them off. Matt, I have 4, but I'm concerned that we may have overlaps, so I always do an extra one just in case.
Okay.
But I'll start things off. During interviews promoting Rogue One, Gareth Edwards has stated that Disney has a 4K transfer of A New Hope ready to go. Matt, it will be the blank version of A New Hope.
Ooh.
Will it be the original? Will it be a Lucas fixed in air quotes version?
Yeah.
Will it be, what version will it be?
He's
even telling the truth.
Yeah. I'm going to say this is what the cash grab cynic in me is going to say. I'm going to say it's going to be, they're going to release the special edition, and then like maybe 6 months later, they're going to release the theatrical version to get people to buy it again. Now, that's not necessarily in 4K transfer, but in some kind of Blu-ray transfer to get people to buy it again. So I think we're going to get it eventually, but I think that 4K is going to be special edition. And this is where I struggle with a little bit, because the special edition that I actually like being in there, like the Death Star battle scene at the end is actually better with the additional computer generated shots of the X-wings, and they're faster and all that kind of stuff. I think that part was the right decision. The rest of it could probably be jettisoned, but that's what I really like. Jettison everything else from the special edition, but keep the stuff that they added to the battle scene at the end.
What about, wait, you would lose the Han stepping over the Jabba?
Yeah, I can live without that. I can live without this
addition and seamless CGI.
Yeah. As much as it would pay me to say, I could say that I could lose that if I could get back to Greedo shooting first, kind of things, or Han shooting.
Well, careful.
Yeah. Careful.
You almost lost all your cred.
I did. I almost lost all my cred.
So yeah, I go back and forth on this. My I don't know. I'm concerned as well that I agree with you that it's a special. Listen, when Disney bought the franchise, I was convinced. I think we did what are the odds, and I think I did like a 95% of the time that they would release the original versions. Why wouldn't you? It's a gold mine.
Right.
You would basically almost be able to pay for the purchase of the franchise by releasing that on Blu-ray or 4K. So I'm inclined to agree with you. I think eventually we will get it. First time around, maybe not. But it's definitely coming. Here's the thing. I don't have a 4K Blu-ray player. Would this, I don't know if you do. Let's say you don't.
I don't.
Would this be enough to get you to upgrade to the next level of tech? Would you do it then?
Maybe. I mean, the thing is, I've been reading about, the 4K Blu-ray players, and there's not a lot of options out there, and apparently they're not that great as far as the technology goes. So I think the hardware still needs to catch up to the rest of it. So I'm really going to wait for the hardware, not for a particular movie to be released.
Okay. And I think they're not crazy expensive anymore. The players themselves.
Right.
And the TVs actually aren't that crazy expensive anymore either. I mean, you can get a 4K TV for under $1,000, I think, at this point, which is at a large size. So that's pretty good. Yeah. I know. I bought the first. Here's a fun little note. I think I may have mentioned this once over the years, but it's been so long and nobody listens, so it doesn't matter. The first DVD I bought was the Millennium Edition, the Millennium Production Company's release of The Evil Dead 3 months before I owned a DVD player.
Wow.
That's how excited I was to pick that up.
Wow.
Because I think it had deleted scenes and commentary by Bruce Campbell, so I was all in for that. But I think I was trying to think what would push me over the edge for 4K. That might be it. That could do it for me. And also, part of it's going to be when I move.
Yeah.
Right now we're a one TV household because two-bedroom apartment. We're house shopping. So once we get a house and I have a more focused office, that's not a combined guest bedroom. When I have an office and everything, I'll put a TV in there. So we may bring the TV from the living room in here, and then we get a larger one. I think at that point we're just going to go all in. So we'll see.
Yeah, and you should. I mean, my dad just bought a 55-inch curved UHD TV for like $600.
I think I'm going to go 60, 65 maybe. Yeah. Also depends on how big the living room is going to be too, right? So
that's very true.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think so it will be the special edition version. Eventually, though, Matt, we are going to get the original. Now, follow-up question: would you want them to go in again now with the current technology and clean up some of those issues? Perhaps your Jabba the Hutt scene.
I just get rid of the Jabba the Hutt scene. Get rid of the coming into Mos Eisley with all the stuff going on. You don't need it. I mean, you really don't need it. And the thing that really irritates me about what they did is they changed dialogue for no reason or changed sounds for no reason. I can't stand
Return
it.
of the Jedi, the scene at the palace with the music and the band.
Yes.
Why?
Yes. Like I hate all that stuff. Literally, the only thing I like about the special editions is that Battle of Yavin 4, where they made it look better. And I wouldn't want them to go in and mess with it because it still holds up because it's completely CGI anyway. So it's like it's not like you can tell. So yeah, I think it's just leave well enough alone at this point.
Before it gets shut down entirely next year, maybe you should go do a White House petition and see if we can get enough people to vote to influence them to fix the stuff that needs to be fixed and to jettison the crap. We should do like a manifesto, Matt, where you go back to Han shooting first, excise the Jabba the Hutt scene from A New Hope, restore the original palace music stuff from Return of the Jedi, put back the old Anakin Skywalker and Jedi. Right? Yeah. I mean, all the little things that we could do. I wouldn't even mind having the Jabba the Hutt Han Solo scene from A New Hope if they cleaned it up where it wasn't so ugly and bad. I wouldn't mind. Yeah. Just the tech in that is so bad. All right, whatever. The CGI.
Executive order.
Exactly.
All right.
Maybe Grand Emperor Trump will get in on that. You never know what he's going to be involved with. Sorry, we're not supposed to be political. Go ahead. All right,
here we go. So we've gotten confirmation that in Thor Ragnarok, we are going to planet Hulk. I mean, we have seen Hulk's gladiator armor. And for those of you who don't know, it's basically where the Hulk goes to a planet, a gladiator planet, becomes a champion gladiator in this planet-wide ring. It's very popular amongst Hulk fans. So at this point...
Which I've never been.
Never been. I've never been a huge one too, but apparently even non-Hulk fans think it's pretty fun and pretty cool to watch. So this is what I'm saying. I think at this point, you and I are both on board that this is going to be by far the best Thor film, just from what little we know about it.
The director alone gives me hope, but yes.
Yes. But, so this is my question. Thor Ragnarok will rank blank in the MCU.
Ugh. Here's the problem. This gets harder and harder to do because there's so many damn films. Let's see. Oh, we know what all right, so let's regroup. So the core group of the films are what at this point?
The ones that we would say like our top 5?
So I would say Civil War, and this is in no particular order.
Right.
Civil War, let me write this down. Civil War, right?
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Winter Soldier, the first Iron Man. First Avengers?
I'm looking at the list right now. Fantastic Four 1994? No, probably not.
I don't think that counts. I don't think that's continuity.
Okay, that's not canon.
Nope.
Too bad Deadpool isn't part of that either.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I was thinking Avengers, the first Avengers.
I guess I would almost say I think I enjoyed Ant-Man more than that thing.
Yeah, I mean it's a toss-up between the two of them.
All right, so number 5, I don't care. All right, so this makes this easy. So I would probably then, since 5th one is the most fluid, I'd maybe say, I'll tentatively say number 5 right now. Where would I rank though the ones we've established? It's funny how far Iron Man has fallen from on my list.
Yeah.
I think I'm inclined to say Civil War 1, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, because Guardians of the Galaxy it feels so removed from the cinematic universe. And then I may go Iron Man, then Winter Soldier, pretty much how I wrote them out.
Yeah.
And then, so we'll say that means that I know it's going to be in the top 5, and I don't know if that's the case. But Taika Waititi, damn it. Waititi, the director who did What We Do in the Shadows, and then another film that I bought using my gift card and I haven't watched yet that I will be discussing at some point, Hunt for the Wilder People, which is supposed to be fantastic, from the same writer-director. So now I think you and I are both confident that Spider-Man Homecoming will end up in the top 5.
Yeah.
So what's coming out first?
I think Homecoming. Homecoming's coming out definitely this summer. I think it's like in July this summer. I don't know when Black Panther comes out. Does Black Panther come out next year too?
I don't know if it does. I think it's Spider-Man. It's I like how prepared.
Oh, it's Spider-Man and Guardians. That's it. I think that's it next year.
No, there's a third.
There is a third?
There is a third. I just
Actually, it's going to be a good one for Marvel movies, depending on what that third one is.
November 3rd, Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, it is.
17.
Okay.
Black Panther's February of 18.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So first, I would put your list. The only thing I would change about your list is I think I'd put Winter Soldier above Iron Man, so I'd probably drop Iron Man to 4. But otherwise, but the same 1 and 2 in that order. I think with Marvel, with Spider-Man coming out, Guardians 2 coming out next year, then we've still got Ant-Man and Avengers. I think this will be. I think this will be in the low end of the top 10. I can't see how this thing breaks the top 5. I could be wrong, but I don't think it breaks the top 5 at all.
I think that's fair. I think low one. You know, you might be right. Low one in the top 10. I think that's fair. I think that. I don't know, but TT's really good. Avengers 2 is just I don't really care for. Iron Man 2 and 3, no. I haven't enjoyed any of the Thor films. First Captain America movie, I just think it's not that good.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, fine. Almost.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't Doctor Strange going to be in the Thor film too? Because he's at the end credit sequence.
I don't know.
I
know he's going to be in Infinity War. I just don't know if he's going to be in. Man, that Infinity War is going to be such a mess. Like, they're not going to be able to hold that thing together. I'm not looking forward to it.
That is going to be tough. I think there was what's her name? It's killing me now. The YouTube woman. She does these great little short videos where she explains plot holes and reviews stuff. And one of the things she talks about is how they're going to have a huge problem with Infinity War because they have all these characters that basically have the same personality.
Okay.
And that's going to be a huge problem trying to balance all of these different people in Infinity War who will basically all have the same personality traits. And how you're going to give them all their own moments, and it's basically going to be the same thing. Just people quipping and making jokes, and it's going to be a big undertaking. Listen, the Russos have come through so far. Winter Soldier, right, and Civil War are fantastic. So, yeah, I don't know. All right, I don't think I've answered your question, but that's fine. Bottom 10. That works for me. I'll say 6.
We discussed it enough.
6? We'll say 6.
Yeah.
Matt, Denis Villeneuve. I don't know if you've seen the Blade Runner 2046 trailer, have you?
I have,
right.
Yes.
So, by the way, have you seen the trailer for Alien Covenant?
I have.
Oh, baby. Now, basically, it seems like an updated version of Alien.
Yeah.
But that's fine with me. That thing looks insane. So I'm excited to see that. But I think it's interesting that we're basically totally departing from Prometheus at this point.
Right.
Except for the inclusion of Fassbender. Because Naomi Rapace, nowhere to be found in that trailer. But it does kind of seem more to be the true spiritual sequel to Alien than Prometheus was. Or even, I would say, Aliens. Right? Because it's a different film. Yeah. Okay. Denis Villeneuve, though, who just seems to be revitalized along with Ridley Scott, Blade Runner with 2046, is in talks to bring back now Dune.
Yes.
So, let me ask you, Denis Villeneuve in talks to revitalize Dune is blank.
Very exciting. I think Dune's a real challenge. I don't know if you've ever read the book, but it's a really going to be hard, something hard to adapt. But based on what I've seen of Arrival, based on what we got in Arrival and, what I've seen, just little snippets of Blade Runner, I'm really excited. I think he could do something really, really cool with Dune. Not to take it away from David Lynch. David Lynch had his own vision, I guess, even though it's incomprehensible and it's not a great movie. But I mean, it has a certain style all its own. But yeah, I'd be really, really curious to see what that looks like and how far it departs from Lynch, because I think Lynch's film has such a stamp on just the visual. I think, for better or worse, I mean, that's what people think of because that's all they have to go on.
Mm-hmm. You saw Jodorowsky's Dune, didn't you? The documentary?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. That would have been cool too.
Yeah. I think too. Listen, if you haven't seen Sicario, Villeneuve's film before, The Arrival, or excuse me, Arrival. It's $5 on iTunes right now. I cannot recommend. At least it was. I cannot recommend it enough. I watched it again 2 weeks ago, Matt. It is fantastic. So I think Villeneuve is one of the up and coming direct. Like, he's very Fincher-esque for me. And I'm just expertly tells a story and makes you live in the world that he creates. So him doing Dune, which is a property that has no real affection for me. I haven't read the books. I haven't seen the film, Lynch's film. In fact, my own exposure has been Jodorowsky's Dune, the documentary of his failed attempt to make the movie. So I have no particular affection for the Dune series, but his name alone, I think, excites me. It makes me sound to be something that I'd like to definitely see. So I'm excited to check it out, but I'm concerned because this will be the second property that he will have done that he had no real hand in conceptualizing. So I more want to see Blade Runner 2046 first and see how he handles that. Because it reminds me, I don't know. I always have the Jackie Brown fear in the back of my head, right? That Tarantino's best films are things that he creates from scratch. Not that, Villeneuve, I think he's adapted some other works, but these are established properties.
Right.
So I'm curious to see how he handles that, if he's at all hamstrung or handcuffed by expectations or requirements. That's all. So we'll see what happens. But I'm excited for it. We'll see. What do you got?
All right, so going along on our Star Wars kick here, Star Wars has passed James Bond as the third most profitable series of all time. I think James Bond
with half the films.
Yeah, with half the films, right? I think James Bond is, I think it's like about 7 billion. With Rogue One, they're a little over 7 billion. But Star Wars still trails Harry Potter at 8.5 billion and MCU at 10.5 billion. So I think it's a given that it's going to surpass the Harry Potter franchise probably in the near future.
Oh, yeah, definitely, of course.
Yeah, but Star Wars will surpass the MCU in total blank.
I don't know if it will.
You don't think so?
Because I just think the number of Marvel films, I think they just got them. They do 3 Marvel movies a year. You're gonna get 2 Star Wars. I just think the sheer number. The only thing is that, I guess, what's a more viable franchise? If you believe that we will have superhero fatigue, and eventually they'll have to trim back. Plus, at some point, Matt, you're gonna have to relaunch.
Yep.
You're gonna have to start over because RDJ is not going to be doing Iron Man when he's 65. Well, maybe he will, but you're going to have a young person take on the man. You can't keep going.
Right.
Star Wars has the ability to churn over that perhaps the Marvel MCU does not, unless you just keep rebooting a la Spider-Man. Lord knows how successful that's been. I don't know. I think, you know what? Given the fact that I think Star Wars has more life to it, and I think has a more universal appeal, I think maybe one day it will, even though they'll have fewer films. But I'm talking like possibly when I'm dead, 2064. I don't. And then who knows? I mean, this country may cease to exist within 3 years, so I don't know what's gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I think it's gonna be. It's a numbers game. I don't know. I think Star Wars probably has more staying power because Marvel Universe could eventually just collapse underneath its own weight. But so could Star Wars. But it's both owned by Disney too. Don't forget.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll just say Star Wars in 2064.
All right. Yeah, I'm with you. I think we're getting to the point of superhero fatigue. It's starting to set in a little bit. It'll be interesting to see. I think we're going to get a collapse, I think, in the next 5-10 years, maybe. Star Wars, it has a much, it's basically a film franchise first. It's not based off of comics. And I think its fans are a lot more devoted, and they're a lot more singular in their devotion, as opposed to, you can have Spider-Man fans who are not X-Men fans, and those kinds of things that may not go to those films. So, yeah, I think Star Wars will eventually surpass it if they keep going the way they're going, and especially if the quality keeps improving as they have been. So it's a good problem for Disney to have. I mean, having the two most valuable franchises that are just printing money for them out of Spaceship Earth is it's a tough spot for them to be in. And then they're such a wholesome company. So when our conservative overlords just kind of clamp down and just take over the country, and they'll have good entertainment to keep us distracted.
Yeah, it says right here. So the series is, according to Wikipedia, the Marvel MCU is $10.7 billion, making it the highest grossing film franchise of all time. I don't think that's the case, though, if you adjust for inflation.
Okay.
I think it's still Bond if you adjust for inflation, because they're talking profitability, like in the highest grossing franchise. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I think it might be, though, just because the sheer number of films, and then obviously, as we said, the inflation thing. Okay. Matt, kind of the piggyback question earlier, I should have rejiggered this order. Oh, well. The best Marvel film of 2017 will be blank. Remember, it's Spider-Man, Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
As much as I want to say Spider-Man just out of blind loyalty, and it looks great, I've still got my reservations, whereas Guardians of the Galaxy, from what I've seen of that trailer, is going to give me more of everything that made the first Guardians movie good. So I'm going to say Guardians is going to be the better film. It's going to be the best film of the MCU next year.
Give me a Rotten Tomatoes score. Call it.
For Guardians?
Yeah.
I'm going to say... What did it? I want to say high 70s. I want to say it's like 78. What did they have last year? Or last year? What was the last one I did that?
Yeah, let's take a look here. I'll tell you in a moment. Jeez, come on. You gotta love the pre-filling here. Guardians of the Galaxy. It defaults to number 2. Come on. Look it up, Scotty. Look it up. 91.
Wow. I didn't think it was that high. All right, then maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe 78 is probably way too low then. 80s?
I mean,
80s maybe?
You got pretty much the same group of people involved.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'll agree with you. I think it's going to be 87% RT score. But I'm telling you right now, Spider-Man will be number 1. It'll be the best film of the summer for the MCU.
Okay. I hope you're right. Is that because of your man crush on Michael Keaton and how he somehow is making the Vulture look cool?
Well, first off, you have Tom Holland, who just knocks it out of the park as Spider-Man and Civil War. You have Michael Keaton as Vulture. RDJ will be in the film as Iron Man. There's just too much going for it. It's a much more established property than Guardians of the Galaxy. Listen, Guardians of the Galaxy is a great film. It's a lot of fun, but there wasn't a real built-in audience for that thing. Spider-Man is one of the most recognized properties on the planet. And now I don't know if I'm talking more success than I am quality of film, but I don't know. I think either way, I think Homecoming is going to be just an absolute blast. There's a lot of pressure, but I think they're going to nail it. So,
okay,
there you go.
All right.
Watch I end up loving Ragnarok out of all 3.
You're gonna be like, I was blown away. You've got to go see Ragnarok. It's such low expectations. All right, here we go. All right, so we've talked about this a little bit here. So we've got the trailers that came out in the past couple weeks for Blade Runner 2049 and Alien Covenant. So these are both Ridley Scott sequels based off of Ridley Scott properties. So, Chris, the next Ridley Scott film that's going to get an unnecessary sequel is blank.
Ridley Scott. I think it would be more fun if it was a Tony Scott question. But let's see. I don't know, what else is there? I mean, Blade Runner and Alien are kind of the big ones, right? What am I not thinking of?
Let's see.
Are we going to do a counselor series?
Well, he did Gladiator.
Yeah. I know they tried to do a sequel to that where they brought him back to life.
Legend.
Robin Hood. I'm going through his oeuvre right now.
Is it over? Thelma and Louise. If anything screams sequel.
Possible sequels, yes. Black Rain, Michael Keaton. Do you want to do? I don't know. You can't do another Martian film. I have absolutely no idea, Matt.
All right.
I really don't know. What? Obviously, you have something in mind. So.
Well, I was gonna say Gladiator, but I forgot he did Legend, so now I'm gonna say Legend just because it's stupid and that's something you could build off of. Pull out Tim Curry in his big Satan suit.
Didn't he have a stroke and like can barely talk now?
Oh, did he? Oh, now I feel bad. I did not know that.
Way to go, ass.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really horrible question. I don't know why you asked it. G.I. Jane.
That's the one. That's the one. G.I. Jane. Well, Demi could use some work.
He could try and fix that Robin Hood film he did.
I watched that for the show. That was
Gods
so
and
bad.
Kings. That was horrible.
I never watched it.
Good for you.
I know better.
Although I haven't seen it. It's supposed to be good. Matchstick Men.
Oh, really?
His director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven I haven't seen. It's supposed to be good too. Yeah, no, I don't have a answer for you because that's a bad question.
Fair enough.
Could you basically pick the only two things that he ever did that have any real legs?
Go ahead. Ask your last question. Do it.
No, I had three. I don't know. I was going to save the fourth one for another time, but all right, fine. I'll
Oh, that's right. Okay, whatever.
No, let's see. No, but we can't go out on that note because that was horrible. Matt, the video game franchise that could actually be good as a film is blank. Because we had another one come out, Assassin's Creed, with a great cast, but an absolutely dreadful critics' response. Assassin's Creed. So what's the franchise that could actually work? I got the answer, but they can't seem to pull it off. So,
okay. In my opinion, it would probably be one of the BioWare games because I think those are really based on storytelling as it is, and I think the Mass Effect games. I don't know if you've ever played those, but I love those. I think you could. That is a big, rich world that you could do something with. I think that could be a decent film.
Yeah, I'd have to say Uncharted.
Okay.
That or The Last of Us, both the Naughty Dog properties. Granted, I'm a PlayStation guy, so I don't have as much experience with the Xbox exclusives. Maybe the Fallout 4, but I guess how many post-apocalyptic films can you really churn out?
Right.
But I would probably have to. The only problem with Uncharted is that it's so Indiana Jonesy.
Yeah.
But you get the right cast and the right crew, right writer, director. I think that would be an absolute smash hit. The Last of Us as well, which is the kind of zombie thing, which is a fantastic film, or excuse me, game. So either one of those, but if I had to choose one, I would go Uncharted. And if the film was made 10 years ago, I would have cast Nathan Fillion, and everybody would have loved it. Maybe you could still go Nathan. But
well, they're still, I mean, I know both of those are still in talks. I mean, I think they're still trying to get those off the ground.
I guess everything kind of keeps falling apart. Like they were supposed to work on the Last of Us film like a year ago, and that fell apart. I don't know why it's so difficult to make this work. I mean, Resident Evil franchise keeps chugging along, but they're not really any good. So I don't know. Maybe they can relaunch the Meyer Brothers franchise. Leguizamo and Hoskins is dead, so now I guess you can't do that. What to do? All right, that wasn't much better, but still better than your question. I think we should just end things while we are marginally ahead.
Okay.
Next week, I don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot up in the air. I still want to try and check out Passengers, which I know you've seen. Manchester by the Sea, you've seen Jackie, as we said. We're not. Let me make something clear. We are not going to do a best of 2016 until I have a chance to see The Founder. I am not going to let that happen. And that won't be until mid-January.
Yeah, late January. It comes out here on the 20th.
Yeah, so sorry, folks, but I'm not making a decision until I see The Founder.
There you go.
So you'll have to wait for that in typical first-run fashion. I know we're going to do The Wailing. I can tell you that for absolute sure. Maybe.
Unless we change our minds.
So shoot us an email, feedback at the first run, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You can watch the recording of this disaster as well. Just do a search for the first run, as I say. Just scroll. You'll find us. And that's the big show for this week. Last week, Matt, I heard you had a guest host. How did that go? You think I should always save that when I was sick?
Yeah, he was a nice guy. You know, I mean, somebody as generous as he is, giving presents to all the little boys and girls of the world. Came in and he made a good solid show. I enjoyed it.
That's good. Yeah, I wonder how horrible that went.
Yeah.
I'll have to listen to it. All right. All right, take an extended break, and we'll see everybody in a week. Adios.
Bye, y'all.
Amigos.
Shield practice.
Shield practice? Gurney, we had practice this morning. I'm not in the mood.
Not in the mood. Mood's a thing for cattle and love play, not fighting.
I'm sorry, Gurney.
Not sorry enough.